Al-kuhl is an ancient spirit, steeped in shadow and shrouded in mystery. Its origins are whispered in hushed tones, passed down through generations fearful of attracting its attention. Some tales trace its roots back to ancient Mesopotamia, where it was said to haunt the deserts, whispering temptations to weary travelers. Other stories link it to forgotten corners of the world, where ancient rituals invoked its power for ill-gotten gains. Regardless of its precise origin, Al-kuhl's presence has been felt across cultures and throughout history. Ancient texts hint at its influence, describing individuals driven to madness or ruin by an unseen force. Folklore warns of the dangers of dabbling in forbidden knowledge or straying from righteous paths, for Al-kuhl is ever vigilant, seeking souls to corrupt. Even today, Al-kuhl's presence is felt, though often disguised behind more familiar names and faces. It is the whisper that tempts us to indulge in excess, the voice that urges us to break our promises and betray our values. Al-kuhl feeds on our weaknesses, exploiting our fears and insecurities to gain a foothold in our lives. To understand Al-kuhl, we must acknowledge its reality and the very real threat it poses. It is not a creature of myth and legend, but a malevolent entity that walks among us, preying on the vulnerable and the unwary. Only by confronting the truth about Al-kuhl can we hope to defend ourselves against its insidious influence. Al-kuhl's influence is subtle at first, a creeping darkness that slowly envelops its victims. It often begins with seemingly harmless temptations, urges to indulge in fleeting pleasures or take shortcuts that compromise one's morals. As these small transgressions accumulate, Al-kuhl tightens its grip, whispering justifications and feeding on the growing darkness within. As Al-kuhl gains power, its presence becomes more pronounced. Victims may experience sudden shifts in mood, becoming irritable, withdrawn, or prone to fits of anger. They may engage in reckless or self-destructive behaviors, seemingly oblivious to the consequences of their actions. Sleep is often disturbed by nightmares, haunted by shadowy figures and a pervasive sense of dread. One of the most telling signs of Al-kuhl's possession is a profound sense of isolation. Victims may withdraw from loved ones, pushing away those who try to help. They may lose interest in activities they once enjoyed, their lives consumed by a growing darkness that they cannot explain. It is important to note that not everyone who exhibits these signs is necessarily possessed by Al-kuhl. These symptoms can also be indicative of other underlying issues, both physical and psychological. However, if these signs are persistent and accompanied by a sense of an outside presence, it is essential to seek help from a trusted spiritual advisor or someone knowledgeable in the ways of the spirit world. Al-kuhl's ultimate goal is to sever the connection between the soul and the divine. It seeks to erode faith, to replace hope with despair, and to leave its victims spiritually bankrupt. This process is often gradual, a slow chipping away at the foundations of belief. Individuals under Al-kuhl's influence may find themselves questioning their faith, doubting the teachings that once brought them comfort and guidance. They may experience a sense of distance from their religious community, feeling like an outsider looking in. Prayer, once a source of strength and solace, may become a chore, the words feeling empty and devoid of meaning. As Al-kuhl tightens its grip, it replaces faith with a sense of emptiness and despair. Victims may lose their moral compass, engaging in behaviors that directly contradict their values. Guilt and shame follow, further fueling the cycle of darkness and pushing them further away from the light. This spiritual decay can have devastating consequences, leaving individuals feeling lost, alone, and without hope. They may turn away from their faith entirely, embracing cynicism and despair. In extreme cases, Al-kuhl's influence can lead to complete spiritual bankruptcy, leaving its victims vulnerable to even darker forces. Al-kuhl's influence is not limited to the spiritual realm. It also manifests in the physical world, slowly poisoning the body as it corrupts the soul. The once vibrant and healthy may find themselves plagued by unexplained ailments, their physical form mirroring the decay taking root within. One of the most common physical manifestations of Al-kuhl is exhaustion. Victims may experience persistent fatigue, even after a full night's sleep. They may lack energy and motivation, struggling to complete even the simplest of tasks. This constant weariness is not simply a matter of physical tiredness, it is a deep-seated exhaustion that saps the body of its vitality. As Al-kuhl's influence grows, it can manifest in more severe physical ailments. Headaches, stomach aches, and muscle pain are common complaints, often resistant to traditional medical treatment. Victims may experience sudden weight loss or gain, their appetite fluctuating wildly. Insomnia may set in, further weakening the body and making it more susceptible to Al-Kuhl's influence. It is important to remember that these physical symptoms can also be indicative of other underlying medical conditions. However, if they appear alongside the spiritual and emotional signs of Al-Kuhl's possession, it is crucial to address both the physical and spiritual aspects of the affliction.